Okay, well, here's yet another filmmaking innovation, a breakthrough. I'm going to do this so you can for sure know that I'm not like having excessive hair everywhere. I mean, I've had a beard, I think, most of my adult life. I know I've shaved several times. I do remember. There was one time I think I was in my mid or late 30s. Or, oh, maybe I was in my 40s. I was already going gray in my early 40s in my beard. It was grew. But anyway, I remember for some reason or another I decided to shave. I think I left the mustache, but it was so long ago I don't actually recall. Anyway, there's this little old lady at church, and she goes, "Oh, you look so much nicer." And I thought, well, then apparently I used to look like hell on wheels, eh, sister? Amen. I thought, keep your opinions to yourself. Bye. But, I wasn't hard on her, nothing. But anyway, I'm just sitting there thinking about this out here. And I thought, short talks in the park with an old guy. Now, what would old guys talk about? Well, they'd probably reminisce. I did a little of that. What would old guys? They politics. They talk about politics, don't they? Hunting. Some guys are car guys. Some guys are into, various weapons and specialty items on the cutting edge of some, whatever it is. Could be tech. Could be phones. What's the coolest phone in the universe? I don't care. But the thing is that you have a situation going on now down here. I mean, where you and I live, and it seems like things are. I mentioned in one of my other vids, things are heating up. I think that'd be a pretty good phrase, and I don't know if you know what I mean when I say things are heating up. I mean, we're talking about a change sequence. We talked about Rocky, the snowball, remember? The bigger it goes, the faster it gets. It builds upon itself. And if you look at these curves they're projecting forward for tech, just tech only, forget anything else. Just consider this one thing. They're projecting exponential rates of increase. And that's so much. If you think of it just in terms of data only, just recorded data, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, do that a lot. I don't know how many bits, bytes, or otherwise there are in known data storage. But one of the things in the book of Daniel, Daniel's a great man, prophet, beautiful book. Oh, by the way, there's a great version. Maybe I should plug a video someday. Now that I'm a YouTuber and whatnot, what about you do a little, whatever you call it, endorsement for one of my fellow struggling tubers. Anyway, it was a real good recording of the book of Daniel. Just read aloud. Great part, no ads. And so anyway, just put it on and just listen. Anyway, Daniel was a great guy. One of the things he mentions, I'm sure he still is. I mean, you'd have to ask him, why are you talking to me about that? But the point is that he mentions that, I guess at the end or near the end, I'm waxing vague here, knowledge and information will increase, and many will run to and fro. But he also mentions that the power of the righteous saints or the holy ones or something like that, they'll be warring against these spirit things, this darkness, and they'll war valiantly. They will do great things. They really will. They will call down blessings. They will cast out devils. They'll heal sick people. There's all kinds of wondrous stuff. There'll be hundreds and then thousands of folks coming into the kingdom, evangelism, all kinds of good stuff. It's going to happen. But in other words, as the bad gets badder, guess what? Also, the good gets gooder. So in other words, it's sort of like, oh my gosh, look at YouTube. It's the end of the world. It's the Antichrist. It's the third temple. Ugh. Ugh. Are you guys kidding? You're actually going to start killing cows again, and you think that's going to somehow appease the wrath of Yahweh? I can't believe it. And to think that some of my Christian brethren are actually rooting for that. If this is the end of the age, there's this thing, Daniel calls the abomination of desolation. Would you like to know what that is? Well, join the club, because apparently everyone else does. Well, of course, do I have my opinion? Well, yes. Well, that's what old guys do in the park. They give you their secret opinion that ordinarily I don't tell people this, but in your case, I'm making an exception. See, that's the way I'd like to have an old guy in the park talk with you. Because otherwise it just ain't interesting now, is it? Well, we hope somewhat interesting. Please don't fall asleep. Wake up. But try caffeine. I like cigarettes. As a matter of fact, you were wondering, do I smoke this stuff? Well, I don't know how this ended up here. I don't know who those belong to. No, of course I smoke. I've smoked for many moons. Perhaps most of my adult moons, I guess you'd say. I did stop briefly, 2 or 3 times. It's weird. It's got, the dog shall return to the vomit. I think I know that guy. But anyway, I just like the boom boom in the noggin that this stuff makes me. It's a lift. It's a mental lift. And if you'll look it up, actually, it's just for fun. Google health benefits of nicotine. There actually are benefits. Your brain does better, but all the negative stuff, the tar and the toxins and all the carcinogenic junk. And I don't know whether nicotine itself is carcinogenic, but it's in such a package of lung wreckage that it's kind of like, well, get used to plenty of phlegm and a dry throat. Have you noticed the sound? I'm wearing out my voice because I'm not speaking properly. I'm not using my voice. I'm not using my diaphragm. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But in other words, there's a diaphragm speak which becomes necessary in these times. You have to learn how to live differently and speak differently. Our world is falling apart. What you knew as the world soon will be completely unrecognizable. It's already almost unrecognizable to me. I grew up in the 60s. Wasn't a lot of heavy tech then, I remember there was telegrams still. I remember there was a phone hanging on the wall. It was about that wide, 12 inches tall, stuck out and then the receiver hung on that. And there was a cord that looped together and a dial-y wheelie thing, how do you dial a number? And they were all 7-digit numbers. We do not use area codes. Why? Because we're dialing inside the area code. This is a local landline. Hi, Margaret. Can I pick you up for dinner? What do you mean, who is this? One of my better dates, in the past. But the thing is that everything's whipping around so fast. And what we're looking at here is if the Jews actually do pick up bloody sacrifice in a third temple presided over by a so-called Levite high priest, where they tie the rope around his ankle, in case he falls over inside the Holy of Holies. See, the problem is no one can go in there to get him. What are they going to do? Hope he evaporates? No, they got a rope. They can just drag him out. Get out of here, knucklehead. He's a stiff. That's why they're pulling him out. Well, maybe he had a heart attack, okay? A stroke? We don't know. Maybe he was just really depressed. At any rate, the point is, if these things start actually coming to pass, then that puts us really in that apocalypse, the book of John the Revelator, the disciple, the apostle John. And I think John's the only one that kind of died of old age. In other words, I think all the other guys died, shall we say, with vigor under the gun, court case. You're being prosecuted, or maybe it was a mob scene and they just tore them apart. I don't know how the apostles died, because guess what? I'm really bad at history too. But I don't have to be good at history. All I got to do is look it up if I need it. And that's the thing. See, there's a whole different way of learning stuff. When I was a kid, what it was about was, I'm going to tell you something. I want you to remember it. And there will be a test. And the test will include, apparently, how well did you remember what I just said. And if you had a pretty decent short-term memory, you'd do fine at school. Did you ever learn anything? Yeah, you learned how to take tests. But what do they have to do with life? What do you mean, do with life? And there are tests in our life, but there's a huge test coming. Big test. And I don't want to scare you. I'm not here to drive you crazy. What I'm saying is Jesus is more than enough. If you will take your fears, if you will take that sense of foreboding, that sense of, my gosh, is the earth beneath me moving? What's happening? Everything's shifting too fast. Take that to your Father. He knows. And He'll tell you how to deal with it. And it's in a surprisingly good way. I'm not going to give the secret away. You're going to have to find out on your own through communication by prayer. Sorry, but I can tell you it works, and it's going to be wonderful when you begin to apply it. It's going to take a big load off you, let you relax, and concentrate on what's important, what's really important. Because, it's the end of the world. Oh, it's the end of the world. Chicken Little says the sky is falling. Oh, my gosh, it's the end of the world. Boo-hoo. So what? Think of it as a military command. Think of it that you're on a fort in a remote area, and you're surrounded by savages, and they don't like you. Or think of that that terrible loss that the French incurred, but the North Vietnamese, the Vietnamese, came and just took them out. I mean, it was a wipeout. But it was such a classically weird battle. It was like, yeah, the French, you guys got any machine guns? Are you kidding? We're the French. We've got them. They're hosing these dudes. French, don't you ain't got some grenades or something? Oh, yeah, watch. Kaboom. Now, I think it's probably early for them to have rockets because it was only in the 50s. I don't know what the French had. But they weren't like, they had like a slingshot and a BB gun, and that's all. They were armed, and they were firing like crazy. The Vietnamese just simply overwhelmed them. They just never stopped coming. That's the way this thing's going to be. And when the valves open up, a lot of people are going to be freaked out and scared real bad. Because it's changing almost too fast. Now it's scary fast. He knows what He's doing. He brought us here for a purpose. Do you realize how privileged we are? Think about it. I don't know how many generations has it been since zero. Actually, since the year 34 or something. I don't know when the church began. Go ask a calendar guy. Get out of here. But the point is that all those folks, all of those believers that went before us, all of them had in mind, hey, maybe I could live long enough to see Jesus come. Wouldn't that be great? So you should live as if He's coming during your life. Well, it's the end of the world. What do we do? Shouldn't we all collectively panic and go insane? More insane. No. He says somewhere in probably one of the prophets, you want to know what the rules are, Mac? Do this. Do justice. Love mercy. Walk humbly with Yahweh. Yeah, but like what else? Just try to do those. Trust me, you'll be challenged. And, Jesus says, well, here's what you need to do. Put it in your head, okay? Number one, I love you, Jesus. I love you, Father Almighty. I love you, Spirit. I love you by the Spirit in me. It's just an amazing, loving circle of family. You're welcome. You're welcomed in, even if you're as weird as I am, or much weirder, too. I know people that are even weirder than me. Now that's weird. But at any rate, the thing is that He's the rock. He never changes. Day to day, night to night, yesterday, today, forever. It's always the same dude, the Almighty. And I'll talk about some of this stuff later, this abomination of desolation, but I'm laying too much on you tonight. Really what I want to do is not scare you or drive you nuts. I just want to say dark is coming on, evening is coming on here. The sun's she's still up about, I'm going to call her 8 degrees or something like that. I'm really bad. I have a really bad protractor arm. Eyeball her. I can see 90. That's fairly easy. I think that one's 180. But other than that, it's a little sketchy. But anyway, sun's about ready to go down. I'm going to go home, make some kind of dinner or something like that, and fiddle around with this new keyboard I've got. Because it's so fancy, I feel like maybe I should actually use it some, like justify that purchase 2 years ago. Whatever. So at any rate, God is with you, or God is in you. In English, I think we do have a word within. Within. Just make it one word. But I think it would be better as either a hyphenated or whatever that / is. Put a / in there. Keep that idea. And don't give up the faith. He knows what he's doing, and he's good. He ain't going to abandon you. Not ever. Amen. Flourish, baby.